welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of my most repurchased makeup. For this particular video, I'm going to be very specific to what I mean by repurchased. I'm not talking about, oh, I like this Tarte blush, so I've repurchased numerous shades, or I really like this line of lipsticks, so I've repurchased numerous shades. I'm talking about, I really like this foundation and I've repurchased it over and over. Now, in that case, it might be numerous shades just because my skin might fluctuate throughout the year, but it's the same product, just in a different shade, whereas a lipstick would be a little bit different, a blush would be a bit different. I think you guys get what I mean. To start things off, I do have the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. The shade that I currently use is Sand, and this is just a backup that I have. The one I'm using, I'm scraping the bottom out of right now, and that's up in my vanity. And then I do have two other shades, which I'm not sure why I went with such light ones, because in the summertime I wear, I think it's tan or buff. One of the two. I can't remember. I think it's tan. But these I don't wear at all. This is Alabaster and Porcelain. They are way too light for me, but I suppose I can add them in to mix up a little bit if I have other foundations that are too dark. But right now they are just sitting around and I don't mind because they weren't expensive and I really like this formula of foundation. It is one of my favorite foundations. I also have by e.l.f. the Micro Brow pencils. These are in the shades Taupe and Neutral Brown. I have purchased these several times as well. They are just your standard spoolie on one end and micro pencil on the other. And thankfully, these are now available through Shoppers Drug Mart in Canada because for a while I could only get them on the e.l.f. website. And I've said this before, but for whatever reason, Canada Customs does not like e.l.f. And I can order like a $20 order and get hit with $13 in customs charges on it. So I tried to stay clear of e.l.f. because it's not always that affordable when that happens. So I was glad that they have come onto the Shoppers Drug Mart website so I can get them there. But I also have their regular, what are these, brow pencils. And again, I have Neutral Brown and Taupe, and I like these just when I'm lazy. I don't need to carve out my brows, I just want to fill them in a bit. These are really nice. I've purchased these over and over again. I especially was using them before they came out with the micro brow pencils, but these are definitely staples in my collection as well. Next I have the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Transforming Powder, and I have Nude Beige and I have Natural Beige. And Nude Beige is what I would wear now. Natural Beige is my summer color, or closer to summer color, and I have purchased both of these a couple of times. I do like these powders. This is what it looks inside. It just has a dirty sponge in there. I like these powders almost as a powder foundation. They do give off pretty good coverage. Not that you can probably see that, but they do give off a good coverage, and I like to use these when I don't wear foundation and I just want to go for a softer, lighter look. I just want to look a little put together, but I need something. This is what I use. A staple for powders that I have is the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder. I think this is one of the most repurchased items in my makeup collection. I go through one of these like every 6 weeks probably. I am heavy on powder. That's just the way I am. I'd rather powder it up and then use the some kind of spray to tone it down a bit because I do not like a tacky finish of my foundation. So I go through a lot. This is shade 004 Sandstorm, and again I buy the different shades depending on what season it is and how much of a tan I have. We'll keep going with Rimmel here. I have two of their primers. I have the Lasting Finish Primer and I have the Stay Matte Mattifying Primer. This is my summer staple for primers. I'm pretty normal as far as my skin goes. I don't get overly oily or overly dry, but in the summertime those oils do come out a little bit more and I tend to sweat a little bit more because of the heat, and this really keeps everything in place and just keeps everything nice and not necessarily matte in the summertime. Stuff comes through a little bit, but it helps to keep everything from breaking up, especially if I'm sweating or outside or for whatever reason my oils are coming through a little bit more. This one works excellent. I do like this primer. This used to be my favorite primer. I really like how this looks even when I'm not wearing foundation. Just putting this on my skin, it just gives it like a healthy look to it. But this isn't my go-to primer anymore since discovering the Smashbox Primerizer as well as the Cover FX Blurring primer. Those are ones I gravitate towards more just because this one, it just gives a nice look to the skin and it makes your foundation look nice, but it doesn't do anything as far as moisturizing or blurring or that sort of thing. It does increase the wear time of your foundation as well. I do have to say that. So it is a good primer, but again, after discovering those other ones, those are things I'm gravitating a little bit more to now, but this nonetheless is a good primer, and this again is great for summertime. Going to the only high-end product that I have in here, and hopefully it's fine because it dropped on the floor a few minutes ago, but it is MAC Fix Plus. This is my second bottle of this. This is something I will continue purchasing over and over and over again, more than likely, unless, you know, something happens and I can't, but for all intents and purposes, this will always be in my collection. This is magic in a bottle. It just makes my makeup melt into my skin, and I love how it looks. I love how it takes that powderiness away that I've overdone with my powder. And it just makes everything kind of look nice and smooth and even. And it doesn't leave my skin tacky, which I appreciate, because there are some setting sprays or sprays that I use or that I have that when I spray them, they take that powderiness away, but they also bring back that tackiness, which I don't want at all. So love, love, love. I have the e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder here, and it is just a white it's just a white HD powder. It works really nice under my eyes. Some of them have micro glitter in it and some of them don't. This one did. I was looking at it earlier and this one does, but I've had jars where they don't have any micro glitter in it. But that being said, it doesn't show up on my skin at all, and it doesn't emphasize the crepiness of my under eyes when I use it, so that's why I really like these. I have been using the banana under eye powder that they have, and I have to say I really like that one a little bit more just because it gives an extra bit of coverage, but these are still really nice too. And I mean, I'll get around to using them eventually. It's just I started using the banana one. I'm like, hey, I'm getting more coverage. That works. I have an item here that I purchased off of AliExpress, I think. I don't think it was eBay. One of the two. But I'm probably going to butcher this name, but it is by Yanquina, Y-A-N-Q-I-N-A. And it is their Precision Liquid Eyeliner 36 Hour. It is a, if I can open it, it is a felt tip liner, and it is pretty stiff, but I really like it. It gives a good line. It stays, it doesn't fade on me, and it doesn't flake off, and it stands up to my teary eyes pretty good. The best out of any of the liners that I have. It works better than my Physicians Formula and any of the other waterproof liners that I've used. This one holds up better than any of them, and it doesn't bleed, which I appreciate because some of them do that too. This one doesn't. It stays put and it's easy to use. The only thing I would say is because it is felt tip and it is a little bit more stiff, it's harder to get in the inner corners, but that stiffness really helps with a hooded or with a wing for me because my eyes are hooded and I am getting a little older, so my eyes are sagging a little bit. When I go to make a wing sometimes, you know, there's a little bit of flab there that gets in the way, and this kind of just pushes it out of the way and does what it needs to do, and I appreciate that. And it was like $2, so these, I've purchased like 5 or 6 of them, and they take forever to dry up as well. And they work well over shadows, and I mean, they work well in general. I mean, I've had some liners, not this, but like other brands, where you go to put them on, and even if you don't have shadow on, but especially if you have shadow on, you get halfway across your eye and all of a sudden there's no ink left in it. It's kind of gotten all gunked up or dried out from, you know, just there's nothing left in the tip. That doesn't happen with this. I've only had really good experiences, so I will for sure leave this one in the description box below so you can check it out, because definitely worth the couple bucks it took. I have a couple of concealers here. I do have the e.l.f. concealer. This is in the shade Fair. This isn't their new one. This is an older one that they've had for years, but I like this again on those days when I'm not wearing foundation, but on the days when I'm just kind of going in with the powder, like with the powder with coverage, I like to go in with this because it wears really well. It's not heavy, but it gives enough coverage to kind of pull off the whole look, but it doesn't pull away from the powder because it's cakey or anything like that. It wears nice, it works well, and I like it. The only thing I have to say is the shade range on these was really bad. This is Fair, and it yeah, it doesn't brighten on me at all. Like it's not super fair right here. So your if you're any lighter than me, this would probably be too dark for you. But they may have changed their shade ranges because I know they came out with a bunch with the camel one, so maybe they made more with this. I'm not sure. But still a good concealer. And then I have the Revolution Super Size Conceal and Define Full Coverage Concealer. I really, really love this concealer. This is in the shade C5. This works well for me now as just matching my skin tone. In the summertime, this works well as more of a highlighter for me, and I use C4 right now as more of a highlighter. I purchased a couple of these. I have a couple of the C4 as well. I really, really like this concealer. It doesn't make my under eyes look crepey. It lasts well, and it stays in place. I like it. Another e.l.f. product here, and this is the e.l.f. Contour Palette, and it's going to look a bit strange because it's missing a pan. But it does have the bronzer. It has like banana powder, kind of. Yeah, a little bit of banana powder, and then it has this highlighter here, which is a very sheer, not a very bam in your face highlighter, but gives a nice glow when you're looking for that just kind of soft glow. This is a really nice one. This one sets your under eyes really nice, or your face, you could use it as well. And this is a really nice bronzer. This was here, the contour powder, and I have gone through 2 full ones. This is my 3rd palette of this, but I seem to go through the contour palette almost twice as fast as anything, or the contour powder almost twice as fast as anything else. So when I got this palette, I was all out of my contour shade in the other palette, so I popped it out of here and put it in the other one, and now that one's all done, but now I don't have the contour shade. So I'm holding off to buy a new contour shade and just using other things that I have, and hopefully I can use this up in the meantime and then just purchase a whole new one and use it all at once instead of having a hole in it. And hopefully that doesn't discourage me from using it, because it probably will if I'm honest, but I'm going to try and use it. And again, this is the 3rd one I've had of this. I've used 2 up completely already. Now this is completely rubbed off, but this is the Essence I Love Stage Eyeshadow base. I believe that's what it's called. It is an eye primer. They have 3 shades of this. I believe they have a strobing one, and then they have a lighter one, I think. I like this one because it gives good coverage to my eyes. It covers things up. I know some people don't like this. It does get some bad reviews because people say it creases. Now, I find with this, I have to put it on and blend it out, and then I have to go in and I have to set it right away. If I wait, it will start to crease, but if I set it just lightly, it doesn't crease at all, and it works really, really well. I actually like this better than the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I think it wears better, at least for me, and I get better coverage out of it, and it's cheaper. Next I have the Essence, what's this? Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in Waterproof, and this particular one is the But First Espresso. I do have the black one of this, and then I have the Rimmel Scandaleyes. Does it have a shade? Oh, just 003 Brown. These are my go-to liners. I love these. They wear so nice. They are so creamy. They work well in my waterline. They don't bleed. They stay put. I like them better than the Marc Jacobs gel liners. I like them better than most high-end liners that I've tried. And for the, I think this was like $3 and this was maybe $6. Can't be beat. I do repurchase them often. I don't know how many I've gone through, and I do have multiple shades of them. I just pulled the 2 brown ones because those are my go-to ones. But again, great products. I really like them. And again, I don't like the Marc Jacobs ones, the ones that everyone talks about. And I have tried the Makeup Forever ones, I think they are. And while those are really nice and they wear well, I think these are equally as nice. And so save some money and just get the Essence or the Rimmel one. Another brow product I have here is by Essence, and it is their Eyebrow Designer. And this is in 02 Brown. And again, I really like this pencil. It sharpens, which I appreciate because I like to be able to make it a finer tip and to carve into my brows a little bit more with it. The only thing I wish about this particular pencil is that it was a little, or they came out with one that was a little bit cooler, because this is slightly warm for me. I can make it work and pull it off, but if it was one that was slightly cooler, it would work. But the formula of this is really nice. It's not super creamy and it's not waxy. It is the perfect in-between medium. It's not going to end up all over my face from being creamy, and it's not going to pull my brow hairs out because it's too waxy. And last up, I have the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. And I do not have the other counterpart to this, which would be the mascara, but I have been using that mascara since I started wearing makeup when I was, what, 13 years old, 12 years old. That was my mom's go-to mascara, and it was mine as well. I've always tried different ones, but it's always been one in my collection. I recently ran out of it and just decided to try something else for a little while because I was getting kind of bored. But again, over the years, many tubes of the actual mascara. This particular primer, I have purchased probably 4 or 5 of them. And those are a bunch of my repurchased items in my makeup collection. Let me know in the comments below some of your most repurchased items. Are any of them the same as what I have here? Any of these things loves of yours? Or yeah, is there something else that maybe I should be checking out because it's equally fantastic? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.